Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Recovery Network Academy, our June edition. Very good to see you all here. We're having a very dreary day, and so you are a light in my day. I am Steele, joining you from New Orleans, and today we are having a teaching offered by Ralph Steele, Knowing I'm on the Dharma Path. So really good to see you all. For those of you who aren't yet Zoom pros, if you scroll to the bottom of the Zoom box, you'll see a chat icon. You'll see participants and you'll see chat, and those are the two modules that we'll be using in the teaching today for the towards the end of the session. The chat will allow you to communicate with each other, including to offer us questions or comments that we'll get to at the end, towards the end with our Q&A. And the participant list, some of you, like I've learned there are a couple different Zoom versions, and for some, you'll be able to raise your hand, like a virtual hand raise by pressing the participants button. There's a raise your hand icon there, or you may see it in the reactions button at the bottom of the screen as well. So yeah, we invite you to, this is a very interactive session, and we'd love to hear from you towards the end. So if I end, and for those of you who are not able to stay for the entire session, I will actually, I'm going to drop a link into the chat box, and this is where you would go to give dana. Our teachings are offered freely. We have a lot of really amazing teachers, and they bring so much experience to our recovery community, working with meditation, working with body, speech, and mind. And yeah, this is a way to give back. So just putting that there, you can go there anytime and practice generosity. So a little bit about our guest teacher today, Ralph Steele. Ralph Steele is a great friend of the Buddhist Recovery Network. He's taught meditation for over 30 years now, since 1987. He completed a year of intensive practice as a Theravada monk in Myanmar and Thailand. In 2000, he completed a 4 years long teacher training with Jack Kornfield of Spirit Rock Meditation. Born on Pawleys Island, South Carolina, he began his meditation practice while in high school in Japan. He studied with Tibetan masters Venerable Kalu Rinpoche and Lobsang Lhalungpa. And he worked with the Dalai Lama. Ralph is a Vietnam veteran, and he spearheaded the establishment of annual retreats of people of color at Spirit Rock Meditation Center and Insight Meditation Society. He's the guiding teacher of Life Transition Meditation Center and the director of Life Transition Therapy. And this is a clinic that offers meditation-based treatment for trauma in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he now lives. He's also the author of Tending the Fire, The Path of War and Meditation. So welcome, Ralph. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
I think this is 60 minutes, and I'll try my best to leave a few minutes for Q&A. Knowing I am on the Dharma path. Yeah. Dharma. First, the word. Dar, D-H-A-R, phonetic meaning, phonetic part of that is mean holding or cradle. Then ma, that goes without saying. This is why it's cradling. So with that word, that's omnipresent, that's infinite, cradling, the holding, upholding the universe itself. And we don't have a clue on how big that is. Not even a clue. So human beings have called it God and so many other words. Now, the enlightened one, the Buddha, he was staying at Jeta's Grove. Jeta's was his name, was an accountant, and he offered the king some money so the monastic can practice, you can say, in this part, came to be known as Jeta's Grove. They didn't need any candlelight in that grove or any kind of flames or anything like that, because the monks, the enlightened masters, they were shining so bright. Wow, just lit the grove up. Now, in the dark of a night, new moon, a deva just came down out of the sky. They thought they were bright. This deva just illuminated the entire grove because of her presence. She circled the Buddha 3 times. She bowed down and said, Devas are concerned for happiness and never long for peace. The same is true for humankind. What then are the highest blessings? What is it? The response from the Blessed One, avoiding those of foolish ways, associating with the wise, living in places of suitable kinds, with your fruits of past good deeds, accomplish in learning and craftsman skills, with discipline highly trained, providing for mother and father's support and cherishing family, giving with Dharma in the heart, acting in ways that leave no blame, steadfast in restraint and shunning evil ways, heedfulness in all things that arise, respectfulness in being of humble ways, hearing the Dharma frequently taught, patience and willingness to accept one's faults, and the realization of freedom. Seeing for oneself the noble truth, seeing for oneself the noble truth. Although involved in worldly ways, unshaken our mind remains. They who live by following this path, every place for them is safe. These are the highest blessings. How do you know you're on the path, on the Dharma path? Well, one thing you know, you're on the Dharma path because you're hearing this dude named Ralph Mitchell Michael Steele talk and you're here. So you know you're on the Dharma path. That's one thing. And not only just, this is no ordinary dude here. Whoa, look at his bones. Wow. He doesn't have long hair. He looks different. than the usual folks out there, grabbing your attention. Dharma, Dharma. So bringing that omnipresence, Dharma, into something that we can assimilate. We're talking about quality of life. We're talking about virtue. We're talking about instructions, and we're talking about phenomena in our practice. Experiencing, but you still have a question about the experience. That's the phenomena. And only practice can turn that phenomena into phenomena logic. This is important, very important. Now, let's go to the surface and then come back down to the roots again. The surface, more everyday life. What's happening globally? And let's keep it simple right here. But it's globally too, if you want to go that way. That's amazing. It is globally. Black Lives Matter. What else is big? Right now there's Tulsa, Oklahoma. But there are many other cities, Rosewood, the same thing happened in Rosewood, Florida. Middle class and upper class, the town was destroyed. Environmental. Inequality. Women are still being stepped on, misused, and abused, in other words, to keep it clean and clear. It's amazing. Then here's our own personal trauma, traumatization, our own trauma. And what is our trauma? Well, let's keep it simple. Just coming on this plane of existence. Being born. Just dealing with that. Yeah. Working with our health. And working with our addiction. Oh, man. Yeah. These are big deals. Very huge. I have some reading here from this. Now we are looking around my own addiction and your addiction. What is your addiction about? What is my addiction about? Here's what the Buddha said. And having entered the stream, this is like the fish. We all used to be a fish, and the fish lives in water, correct? But we all used to get seriously toasted. And you have a conversation with a friend, and in that conversation, you're looking for water. For people say water is wet and it has a nice taste to it. Remember, you're a fish and living in the water, okay? But we out there getting toasted and getting high. So you came to a realization. Someone told you it's right here, not just here, it's right within you. And that's entering the stream. And having entered the stream of Dharma, the practitioner, us, regularly examine his or her own heart and sees, yeah, this is the freedom thus won, and these are the feathers, which is another reason why we're here. Yes, we still have issues. We, including this dude here. The entanglements still to be released in me. This is why practice rules. Practice is a big deal. It's very important. We love the nice words with regards to taking the Dharma, and people have been doing it for centuries and talking about it in different kinds of lineages. It doesn't matter. There's one in the 12th century, skinning your knees on the Dharma. It means skinning your knees on God. Little by little, you will turn into stars. Even then, my dear, you will only be a crawling infant, still skinning your knees on God. Little by little, you will turn into the whole sweet aromas universe in heat on a wild spring night, and become so free in a wonderful, secret, and pure love that flows from a conscious, one-pointed, infinite need for light. Even then, my dear, the beloved will have fulfilled just a fraction of a promise he or she wrote upon your heart. When your soul begins to ever bloom and laugh and spin in eternal ecstasy, oh, little by little, you will turn into God. And for some reason, we folks in the West, and actually around the globe now, we want the practice, the spiritual practice. It has helped us majorly, but we want it yesterday. I know I used to be like that. Holy cow. Yesterday, yeah. Someone told me I have to do 100,000 prostration, 100,000 mantras, or I have to do 10,000 of meditation practice to actually begin to see. Yeah, they told me that. And I said, Ralph, what have you gotten yourself into? We need a motivation. And you know what got you here, not here with Ralph, but initially on the path, the Dharma path. You know, each one of you. Don't lose that, please. Because that absorb, it put it into our body, it put it into our speech, that experience, and it put it into our mind to come into the practice. It could have been death. The Lord of death came by. Whatever it was, keep it there. Doing my monastic, my abbot, Ajahn Jayasara, he tutelaged me, pretty much held my hand, knowing that I was a teacher from America. In other words, he was giving me a serious hard time. And he took me into this stupa, a building. He said, come here. I already knew of this stupa my first time being in this building. And I know inside this building was the remains of the head of our lineage, Ajahn Chah. And if I took you there and I didn't say anything, and you look at his remains, it looked like a clump of crystals. Of course, we knelt down. He was just in front of me, and he began chanting. And that room was maybe 20 feet in diameter. And the room started moving, the space in the room. And it didn't move like this, circle, it just moved like this, like someone embracing you without a physical form. I haven't been the same since. Now Ajahn Chah, he's the tutelage for the king's sons in Thailand. From an analytical perspective, now, we need to understand that the rule, the law, it's amazing what he did. After he became awakened, he gave, how do you put all this stuff into form so human beings can work with it? He gave the Four Noble Truths. And he gave it in such a way where it's timeless. It's utilized to this day, teaching us to be our own physician if we choose to. Knowing you're on the path, not making it difficult, keeping it simple. First, there's suffering. First, there's an illness. We were born, going back to that, instead of saying trauma. Number one. Number two, the cause of one's suffering, diagnosing this illness. Why Ralph was born. What's going on here? Investigating it to stop one's suffering. Treating the illness. Oh, you're African American, they're calling you that. Okay. Oh, well, you speak a different language. English is not my root language, Gullah is. And then being able to stay on the path. And this is where he gave the prescription, the Eightfold Path. It's broken down into 3 different baskets. The basket of conduct. The basket of how we're going to carry ourselves. The basket of wisdom, in other words. And the basket of concentration. These are the law. Not going to go into the 8, but just give you, okay, in anything we do and how we carry ourselves. because we all made a decision to decide to dance with something, come into this practice that's much bigger than us. We reference it as the Dharma. Not knowing it's really practice. And it tastes so good. Each one of you have very special skills. Utilize it, please. Don't go saying, I want to look like that person or be like that person across the street. Gently I weep for my mind. Gently I weep for my mind, caught in its illusion of ownership. I've been there many times in my life. Mind, you are not who you think you are. You are dancing over a pit. Soon you will fall through, and these things you have valued and collected will be left behind. My sweet dear, do you understand this? Do you understand this? And if you do, how does your food taste? This is what got us into practice. Knowing the Dharma, knowing, experiencing a moment that's beyond words, way beyond words. So start looking. I encourage you to start looking outside. Look this way. With being a physician, be a truth seeker. Look for the truth. That's what got me on the path. Truth seeker. Even though I got inspired at a young age, but still I got off the path. Ooh, smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day. I'm not exaggerating. It was only $20 a carton then. You have to take out a loan to buy a carton of cigarettes now. Shooting heroin. Yeah. What got you on the path? That's the Dharma. The Dharma got you on the path. And beginning to experience phenomena. The Dharma. You had the experience, but you don't understand it. I had many of those, many. And you too. Even though you may be young, age of the body has nothing to do with this, but only age and practice. Here's a good one. Food and meditation. When the mind exists undisturbed in the way nothing in the world can offend, and when a thing can no longer offend, it ceases to exist. In the old way, there was a time where I decided to put the smokes down and the needle, and I had to run. I had to do my practice. It was running. I was doing 5 miles on the weekdays, 20 plus some miles on the weekends. I was having a good time because I was enjoying that experience. Then I got more going to meditation retreat and noticing I was tapping into the sensations of the same experience. Dharma. Wow. Holy cow. I don't have to go running. The reason why I'm turning my head left and right is raining and lightning like crazy. There was a time where I couldn't be in a conversation or be around people because they were smoking. And then all of a sudden, it was okay. But that all of a sudden took another decade or so practice. And that's when a thing can no longer offend. It ceases to exist in the old way. When the desire or something is gone within us, ouch, it's gone. Gone. If you wish to move in the one way, do not dislike even the world of senses and ideas. Indeed, to accept them fully is identical with true enlightenment. True enlightenment. You're beautiful. You're already awakened. We just need to now, all of us, including Ralph, there's our object of mind. Whatever it may be. No, we're taking the Dharma, we're utilizing it through the nobility so it can make sense for us, so we can constantly do surgery on our body, on our speech, on our mind. That is so important. Consistency, in other words. We just had serious thunder, so I had to be quiet. When I was a kid, when we had thunder and lightning, my grandma will make us go into a corner and be quiet. That's God talking. So that's what that was about. Letting it all go is learning to build consistency, being on the path. Letting it all go. And it takes time. We understand that this is our form. It's not who we are, in other words. Then there's feelings. Then there's identification, how we identify out in the world, all the different objects that we choose to focus on. Thousands of them before every 24 hours, thousands. To bring that into consciousness. We know that this is how this works. And it's beautiful that we have a practice and the practice supports us that this is how this works. This is an experience. If you need to hold on to something, maybe this isn't the way for you. If you want to follow it, be prepared to give up a lot and to bring forth your own energy. To give up a lot. You don't have a clue what you're going to be giving up. And everyone think about, oh, I'm giving up this way. This way. this way. And you'll be surprised. You'd be surprised once you begin to give things up. Now, what most of the things I read to you was, like 1,000 years old, 500 years back there, in other words. I remember in Thailand once, we was waiting on this one meditation teacher. He's a very special person. It would be my first time. And there was about maybe 30, 40 monks, small group of us. Maybe a little less than that, 20 to 30 monks, yeah. And we were waiting for it. And we were under one of those Thai type buildings, meaning that it's about 7 feet off the ground on stilts. And so we were sitting under there, waiting. Behind us was a little small yard. Green grass on one side, two sides. One side of the green grass was the forest. The other side of the grass was about 10 feet further was the road. And one side of the grass was a little small garden. So 3 sides. And the 4th side was us sitting there. We got a phone call and they said that he will be here. His motorcade was coming in this direction. It became very quiet. It was already quiet, but it became very quiet. The majority of the monks stood up and they went on that green grass and looked into the forest. And I looked at them, and so I stood up, so no one were talking, and I was looking in the forest too. Didn't see anything, because usually animals would come. That's why they were looking in the forest. The wind picked up so intensely, we had to use our hands to hold our robes down. Then all of a sudden the wind stopped. Boom. This is in the 90s, people. And we turned around and there was his motorcade. It stopped. He got out. His skin was darker than mine. Basically the same height, if you want some visual. He walked under what we call the kuti, that building. And there was a little podium there for him. We all bowed down 3 times for refuge. Then we sat. He started talking. And as he was talking, he told us, and his talk was about how he became awakened, his 10th year as a monk. He's been a monk now for about maybe 70 some years or something like that when I met him. But when he started talking about maybe 5-10 minutes into his talk, just like how you see my shirt and my face and everything, well, you could see the furniture and the plant and everything behind me just looked through his body. I nudged my senior monk, thought I was hallucinating from all the different kinds of drugs I took in the past. And he said, no, Punyananda, we all see the same thing. They call it a glass body. Some people call it a rainbow body. It's just the energy body. The physical body is breaking down. When you begin to let everything go, when you're ready for that, it's easier said than done. It only comes through practice. All those special moments we had experienced during our drug days doesn't even come close to this, not even close. And this was in modern times. Wow, get to see a human being. What a motivation with regards to practice. Knowing you're on the path of the Dharma. You know when you're on, and you know when you're not. You do. Hopefully, what I've said here today will give you some more, a little bit of insight, I'll say that. And I will end with another elegant person I had the pleasure of spending time with. The mind is like space. There's room in it for everything or nothing. We always have a perspective once we know the space of the mind. It's emptiness. Armies can come into the mind and leave. Butterflies, rain clouds, or nothing. All things can come and go through without us being caught in reaction or resistance. This is our practice of letting go. Letting go, period. For the duration of your life, of our life, including wealth, our practice of letting go. We have a few minutes for questions. This was a wonderful meditation. In between, people think meditation is just keeping your mouth silent. You know where if you are speaking the right way, it doesn't matter if you're angry. You know if you're on the path, on the Dharma path. You know. Only you know. And you get it acknowledged sometimes.
Thank you very much for the care that you've given, questions and comments today, and for your wonderful teaching, this way of looking at how we're going for refuge and how we engage. It's been really wonderful. I have I've added a few links to the chat field, and I'm going to add a few more if that's all right with you all. These are as Ralph mentioned, we have the Embodying Emotions with Somatic Meditation 7-week course that he offers, and this is, I think this is recurring, but it's you have to catch them at the right time. Yes.
Correct.
Yes, and then we have the monthly meditation intensive that happens once a month, I think. And so that the link that I've listed, the lifetransition.com/classes on the website, is the way to find those, and also to connect with you. If folks have questions, you can send emails to info@lifetransition.com to get a response. So I wanted to just let folks know that next month we'll have Vince Cullen, who's offering a teaching, And we have a latest podcast up for listen. It's by Kara Haney. It's called Watch Your Tone. I'm going to put that podcast link in. And then finally, I wanted to let you know that Vimalasara Mason John, who is the president of the Buddhist Recovery Network and is a longtime teacher of mindfulness-based addiction recovery, has a new session that's beginning June 7th. And I'm going to put the link for that up. And it's 28 days. And of course, there are a couple of opportunities to connect in person, but many of them are recording, so you can do them whenever you like. So that's a lot. That's a lot we have to share with you. And just feeling a lot of gratitude for this opportunity to be with you and to practice and to see our friend Ralph and to learn from him. Thank you so much.
Be here again. It's good to be here again. And I just want to say, with regards to Vimalasar, it's rare, it's very rare when one become a master at what they do. It's very rare. And with regards to addiction, she is the person in North America. And it's been a long time since the last time there was a master, not in this country, it was in Thailand. And he was a police officer. And he got tired of putting people in jail, drugs and so forth. And this was back in the 70s and 80s and in the 70s. And so he became a monastic. And from there, he put together a detox center, a treatment center. 4 days. That's it. 4 days. Dear friend of mine, all kinds of people, Congressman, Ram Dass, all kinds of people went over there to learn his skills and technique. And what he told Ram Dass, he looked at him, he said, "You're not ready for this yet." You know? To become a master in the area of the drug world, wow, it's a big deal. It's not an easy thing to do. And that's where Vimalasara is. She's such a gift.
She is indeed. Thank you. Wishing you all well, and hope you have a sweet week, and may the thunderstorms pass. Yeah, they're coming here next, I'm sure. All right. Thank you. Have a great Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, wherever you are.